Okay, here we go. We're going to start off with a quick overview of my rig. I do have a lot of extra stuff, but we're going to focus on the amp right now, which is my PV Valve King 100 watt head. It's a 2-channel design with 3 AX7s and 2 6L6 GCs. I just recently had it retubed with Mesa Boogie 6L6s, and they sound very nice. It is a 2-channel with an effects loop and a volume boost, and then reverb. It does come with a foot switch for it that can switch the volume boost and also the clean to dirty channel. Typically that's where my distortion starts. I rarely ever use any outboard distortion, just depending on what's going on. As you can see, I have 2 of them. The second one is actually borrowed because I needed a backup when the power tubes went out on my main head. And the owner of this head has actually noted that my head actually sounds better, and he can't quite figure out why. But I think I know, aside from the type of tubes that I have in it. Let me pan down here to my cabinet. That is an Ampeg 2x12 cabinet. It's loaded with Celestion vintage 30s, and you know, you can't really tell so much in the video here, but that cabinet is very beefy. It is at least 1.5 to 2 inches thick on the sides and top. It is a closed back cabinet, which I think adds to the sound as far as having a real deep woofy sound. I actually would like to say that, I can liken my sound to something similar to a Mesa Boogie, like a dual rectifier head. It's got that saturation, it's got that real deep thump that I look for in an amp. And it actually, I bought one of the first ones that came out in this area, and it was very, very heavy sounding, and I really liked it. And it was, for the price, very, very well priced. This is a bang for your buck amp. Okay, now I'm going to move down here to my pedal board. I just recently retooled my pedal board. Originally I was running on about 20 pedals and decided to replace almost all of them with this current setup. What we're looking at here, this is the Dunlop Zach Wild wah him. I do love the sound of his wah pedal. It's got a real deep throaty tone with that phasal inductor. I get the sound that I want from a wah. It cuts really nicely. And then right next to it I have the Digitech expression pedal. I originally bought this for a couple of the sounds, but the one that I use the most is, you can see marked on the tape there, is the space station sound. And if you've not heard that, I will do a demo of it in a later video clip. Up above that I have my BBE supercharger. I'm only using it to power the wah pedal for right now. I used it originally on my other pedal board, which, like I said, sported about, I think the last incarnation had about 12 pedals on it, and 8 of them were powered by that supercharger. It's a really, really nice power supply. Quiet. Okay, moving on. This is the flagship granddaddy effects unit. This is the Line 6 M13 Stompbox modeler, and basically what this thing is, if you haven't checked this out, it is a combination of all of Line 6's Stompbox modeler pedalers, like their delay modeler, their distortion modeler, filter modeler, etc. And they crammed those 4 pedals, a few extra effects that were never in any of those pedals, and the Line 6 Verbzilla pedal crammed into this box here. It comes sold with the version 1.15 software, I believe it is, and that right there is 75 different effects, plus you have a tuner, a looper, and the ability to store so many scenes according to your needs. I did the version 2 upgrade, which gave me an additional 25-30 effects, and took care of a few other things that were requested by a lot of people at line6.com. And right now, I don't know if you can see the tape. I have it all laid out for my current band, Twisted Minds, my bar band. It's pretty basic stuff. I just have it set up so I can cop some of the sounds for some of the songs that we do. I have a compressor, kind of even things out if I need it. I use what's called the synth strings patch, which I believe was an emulation of a Korg X11 guitar synth. It's real glitchy and farty and stuff like that, but it's really kind of cool to play with. Up next, I have a rotary speaker simulator because I love the sound of like a Leslie rotary speaker. And then next to that, I have a tape echo simulator. And if you'll notice when you go down, you'll see I've got a couple of them. The tape echo is for like that runaway oscillation sound that you hear from like the old Roland Space Echo or whatever. Then I have my Univibe emulator for like my Jimi Hendrix stuff. Right next to that, you'll see I have the Octafuzz, which is supposed to be very similar to the Octavia. I use that for a couple of lead tones. It's really the only distortion I use outside of my amp's distortion. Next to that, I have your standard like analog echo. I use that because I just love the warmer sound that it has than over the digital. I can leave that on and play over it, and it doesn't muddy up my sound too much. And then I have a standard spring reverb, which I pretty much leave on all the time now. I used to like my sound really dry, but as of late I've been using reverb a lot. Then I go in, I've got a phase, which I've got set for the MXR Phase 90 emulation, and I have it set for a real slow sweep for that like Eddie Van Halen sound. Right next to that, I have a flange, which I believe is my, I can't remember if it's my MXR sounding one or if it's like the ADA or whatever. But I use that typically for that real jet whoosh type sweeping sound. I don't use it for much else than that. Sometimes I'll use them in combination with the Space Station, get this really textural synthesizer type sound. Next to that, I have a tremolo sound, which I have set for a very fast, choppy sound. I really only use it for one song. And then I have another echo, which is the exact same echo as this one. They've got the same setups and everything. And that's in case I decide I want to use the echo with the reverb, or if I'm using like the tremolo with the echo or the rotary with the echo. And then that one's, I can't use that echo when I'm running one of these effects because you can only run 4 effects at a time in each row. Next to it, I have the 2 expression pedals hooked up. The one over here is used to control my Univibes, the sweep on my Univibe. I use it to control the different settings on my synth. And I think I also use it as a mid boost on the Octafuzz if needed, or a volume boost, I can't remember which. This pedal here is basically used to control the feedback function on my tape echo, so as it starts to run away, it doesn't get too crazy. I can pull it back with that and make it die. And I also use it to control the rotary speed from fast to slow on my rotary simulator. And that's pretty much about it. That's the nice thing about that M13, and I will do a demo of it as if there aren't enough of them already, but I'll show you what my board can do. This replaced about 10 of the 12 pedals that were on my last board. I'm pretty sure it was 12 pedals. And the only other pedal it did not replace, which it has not made its way back on the board, and that's just simply because I'm playing keyboards, is the Electro Harmonix Pog pedal. And I use that to get my Hammond organ sound, but like I said, with me playing keys, I actually have that now. I don't typically need to rely on the guitar for that.